Hey, so we've got our instrument out of the case. I've got my end pin anchor out. My bow right now is still in the case. I'm not going to play with that just yet, so you don't need to worry about that. Let's talk about how to hold this instrument and how to kind of get it set up, all right? You'll notice that most of the time, it's going to be sitting with that end pin anchor resting on the floor. There's no point in holding it up like this with two hands when I've got that end pin anchor and it can rest there. I'm going to use my left hand most of the time, and good places to hold are around the neck, or sometimes I let my hand slide down against the shoulder, the body of the instrument, and I can hold it right there, but make sure you've got a good hold on it. We obviously don't want it to tip over and fall over, all right? One of the golden rules we have in orchestra for our cello players is you always have one hand on your cello, except for when it's put away in the case, all right? There are very few exceptions to that rule. I don't want people setting their cello down and then walking away, because it's just so easy for accidents to happen, stuff gets bumped and tipped over, things get broken. So it's either in your hand or in the case. All right, so now we need to figure out, the first thing really is how tall do I make that end pin, all right? One rule of thumb that I use is when you're standing up in front of your chair, generally we want to get the top of the scroll about at your nose, okay? It's obviously way too short right now. So I'm going to sit back down. I'm going to pick up this instrument and I can rest it on my leg on the side so that I can reach around with my right hand to where this end pin is. Now, they all work pretty much the same way. You should have some sort of a screw here, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, okay? It should be tight right now probably, so I need to turn it to the left. Just loosen it. One tiny little half turn is usually more than enough. And then that should loosen up my end pin so I can slide it out, all right? Some of them have little notches on them, so you can try to line up a notch with the screw. Some of them don't, that's totally fine too. So I'm gonna go out, maybe let's go to this one. I'm not sure if that's far enough or too far away, but we're gonna try it, all right? Then I'm gonna turn it back to the right, tighten it up. Now, let's make sure that I get this in my end pin anchor spot, all right? And I'm gonna stand up and see where's that at, okay? It's about at my chin, okay? I know I said nose earlier, somewhere in here usually is about what works. Let's sit down with that and we'll see how that lines up with my body when I'm sitting, and that's how I can really tell them, all right? So, since I'm standing here, I've got my feet shoulder width apart. I've got that end pin in the end pin anchor. I'm going to keep this instrument, the cello, straight up and down right now, and I'm just going to sit down. I'm sitting on the front part of my chair, all right? Not leaning way back, but on the front part of the chair. The instrument's still straight up and down. My arm, my left arm then, is straight out, all right? That's about how far my end pin anchor should be out. If you find that it's way far out or in too close, then we can adjust that end pin anchor to be a different length. Usually once you figure out the length, then it stays there and you're good every time, all right? So from there, I need to bring that instrument, I'm gonna tip it in towards me. Now the scroll and the neck needs to go on the left side, all right? And you're looking at me right now, so that looks like the right side. But if I turn around, the left side towards my left ear, it's gonna come in and rest against my body, all right? Now this feels actually a little high to me right now, because I want the top shoulder here to be, I call it the pledge spot. When you put your right hand and say the Pledge of Allegiance, right there in my chest, that's where it should rest. In another place is I check this peg right here. It's the C string peg, the bottom one that's closest, and it should be right about at my ear lobe probably. That's a little too high for me, I think. So let's adjust this again. I'll move that end pin in a little bit. I'm gonna go one notch. There we go. We'll get that back down here in the end pin anchor. Bring that in. Okay, one thing I didn't mention is my knees. My knees should be just a little bit underneath these bottom corners probably. And I can use my legs to just kind of help secure the instrument. I'm not going to squeeze or anything, but they can keep it from moving around, so I actually don't really need my hands to make it stay put. And now, top of the instrument is at my pledge spot. C string peg is right here. And my left hand can just kind of rest here on the shoulder instrument right now, and we're ready to start playing.